As you listen to these words, you might begin to notice the way ideas move like currents beneath the surface of a vast river. Some currents are familiar, others feel new. Each carries minerals of experience, beliefs, lessons, the tiny spark of intuition that's always whispered, you already know. Imagine now, that river is you, made of light and memory. Every spiritual gift is a ripple, channeling, intuition, healing codes, all waves of the same water. When you let the river flow freely, it doesn't need to try to be coherent. Coherence, it's simply what happens when nothing blocks its course. Science might call that resonance. Psychology might call it integration. And spirit calls it coming home. You've felt it before, in those moments when a sudden idea flashes like lightning, and something inside says, yes, that's true. That's the current aligning, the frequency upgrade everyone talks about. But it's really just the body remembering how to hum in tune with itself. So now, step back and chunk up to the bigger picture. If one drop of water flows purely, what happens to the entire river? It clears. If one person learns to listen deeply, what happens to the field around them? It steadies. And when enough of us steady our fields, the world tilts toward coherence. That's the quiet miracle hiding in plain sight. Of course, when you resist the current, when fear, pride, or over-rigid thinking dam the flow, things stagnate. Energy gets murky. Intuition feels muffled. Coincidences stop lining up. Not as punishment, just as physics. Block flow breeds pressure until honesty breaks the dam. That's karma explained by hydrodynamics. Now picture the moment you finally release that dam. The rush of water is dramatic, sure, a little messy, maybe even loud, but the river laughs as it finds its course again. And you laugh too because you realise you were never separate from the river. You just built walls made of labels. The same mind that built them can choose to melt them simply by noticing. From this higher view, each teaching becomes one teaching. Connection disguised as difference. The heart and brain aren't enemies. They're two musicians learning to play in rhythm. When they sync, intuition amplifies like harmonic overtones in a well-tuned guitar. That's the science of spirit, coherence creating clarity. So now, imagine extrapolating forward. Picture yourself 6 months down the line, a year, 5 years. You wake with steadiness in your chest. Decisions feel lighter because they're aligned. You create without overthinking. Opportunities seem to find you. People start to comment on your presence. Something about you feels grounded. That's the frequency shift integrated into daily life. And if you don't choose that flow, well, the river still moves. It just carves its own path eventually. Resistance costs energy, like swimming upstream. You tire, you circle back. Eventually you surrender, laughing at your own stubbornness. Even that is grace disguised as exhaustion. So as you hear these words, you might already begin to remember that you've always had the skills to sense, to heal, to connect, to imagine. All this talk of activation is really permission to use what's already there. You can notice that now or later, or whenever it becomes too obvious to ignore. Because every message, every lesson, every code is simply a mirror held up to the truth that you keep trying to forget. You are the instrument, the signal, and the player. And everything's connected because there was never anywhere else for the current to go.